Outlast contains intense violence, gore, graphic content, and strong language. Please enjoy.
I like you.
Here it is. The face that launched 1,000 2013 clickbaits. You are miles per hour, and you are a rough and tough alpha Chad journalist getting down and dirty with the inside scoop right from the source, with your latest report taking you to an asylum called Mount Massive, or as you could also call it, Lump Large. And once inside, you have to uncover the cruelty unleashed on the patients, expose the inhumane practices of the doctors and scientists, and avoid contamination by washing your hands before you can have your large willy meal with a Diet Coke. The game is kind of the same as the others. No way to attack, running around in first person looking for items, conserving your light source, hiding from enemies, and to give it credit, it might still be a little silly that Miles is walking around with a camera up to his eye like in Slender the Arrival, but at least there's a better purpose for it. Not only is he recording and documenting all of the horrors within the asylum, but he also uses the night vision mode in the camera to see in the dark, which you will need to use a lot because holy shit, this is a dark game. In Outlast, if you run out of night vision batteries, that's it. Enjoy the sensation of closing your eyes, but without the pesky step of closing them. Don't fret, there's batteries all over the damn hospital that just so happen to fit your camcorder's hole, and you'll need to look around for as many as you can because these batteries drain faster than me. I would love it though if a battery company actually sponsored this game, because what better advertising could they need than Duracell? They'll go for 10 minutes, probably. Shortly after the game starts and you get used to being the world's first parkour news reporter, you then get to a part in the game where they outright tell you to hide. So right, this is where the game actually begins, and shortly after avoiding the first big boy, you're then thrown into your first encounter room, which is where you notice how every sub-room has a table that you can run around, and there lies every problem I have with this game. The second you realize how every set piece and encounter room is designed with loops in nearly every room, aside from a couple of dead ends, the game quickly stops becoming about crawling around and hiding, and more about running laps around these mingers while they follow you around wherever you decided to get behind. I find Outlast to be one of the least scary horror games for that exact reason. Does that make Outlast bad? Not at all. I think it's great fun. It's a good old blood-pumping, jumpy, runny nose. But I treat it more like Mirror's Edge than Amnesia, which I don't think they were trying to go for, considering, you know, soup. Not to mention, once you start getting chased around by the Johnson twins and then find out that this hulking man goomba is called Chris Walker, a lot of the horror loses its gusto. This wretched brute is called Chris Walker. Would you be scared if you were chased by a monster called Tony Smith? And as for the prawn twins over here, one looks like a spud and the other looks like a coconut with hair. The only time I think the game figured out to go full on with the tongue-in-cheek nature of what's actually happening around you was when you run into Dr. Roast Beef, who greets you by offering you to leave while you're tied to a chair and then cuts your fingers off. And the jump scares are so frequent and over the top that they become more like shots of adrenaline to keep you playing the game rather than make you turn it off from being a piss baby, and some of them are so predictable it actually physically hurts me. To its credit though, when it does catch you off guard, it really catches you off guard. I'll tell you what it is, the game feels very mechanical. It feels exploitable in a way that Amnesia or SCP Containment Breach don't feel. Sure, the run around looping strategy doesn't work all the time, and you'll take a few hits or slices or maybe even a bum, but you will always get out without dying, and that does make it fun, but to me, not very scary. By the way, what point is Miles trying to prove by staying here? He's there to find out if anything bad is happening, he sees it within the first 5 minutes, catches it on camera, and then doesn't go home. Is an impaled security guard not enough for your BBC investigates? You don't need any more than this, just make like a leaf and go away like a leaf. The footage won't be usable anyway, not with all the times you shove the mic all the way up your nose. Look, I really like the twisted experiments angle with this asylum cult that formed out of nowhere. I like cult stuff, it's creepy. But along this half of the story is another half about a paranormal ghost creature that invisibly kills people. And I know that it is linked into the cult, but it just doesn't fit with, well, that. It's like two different stories are flipping back and forth between each other whenever it suits it. One second it's graphic body horror in a grounded and grimy, dilapidated asylum, and the next second it's raggy. And that leads to the final portions of the game and then the ending, which, man, nah, I don't like it. It makes me want to crap my own arm out. By the way, this supernatural entity causing godlike destruction, it's called the Wall Rider. I will say though, if I were to ever lose my head, I would sit exactly like this.